Being a Sonic fan has been quite rough for a while. You've probably heard about the dreaded, infamous Sonic cycle. Hype for the game, trailers release, hype increases, and then disappointment upon release. This is all because of the inconsistency of Sonic games released since the turn of the century. Some really good games like Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Generations, contrasted with flops like Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom. However, like I mentioned in my Studiopolis Zone video, check it out if you haven't, 2017 was a really good year to be a Sonic fan. And a really bad one. I've already made a review on the poor title from that year, Sonic Forces, and I don't really want to talk about it again unless I need to. But I will be talking about the good game from 2017, Sonic Mania. This was a highly anticipated release. Trailer music by Hyper Potions, a fresh take on the classic art style, new zones, remixed zones, and it was made by the fans. An officially licensed fan game. And it came at a good price too. I did not play Sonic Mania on release, but I did get to it a year later, I think it was. But anyways, since Sonic Origins is coming out soon, let's get into the classic Sonic mood and talk about what is in my opinion the best classic Sonic game, and in my opinion the best Sonic game ever. Before we get into the actual game, we'll need to take a bit of a history lesson prior to my analysis, as the factors leading up to Mania are very important. The last true classic Sonic game, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, released in 1994. There were other 2D Sonic games that did release in between, such as the Advance series and the Rush games. Although these games were good in their own rights, these games weren't follow-ups to the classic trilogy, so naturally, when Sega decides to release Sonic the Hedgehog 4 in 2010, a direct follow-up to Sonic 3, the number 4 carries a lot of weight. Sonic 4 released in 2 episodes, with episode 2 releasing in 2012, and suffice to say that Sonic the Hedgehog 4 was not very well received. Clunky controls, bad momentum physics, and poor level design. It looked like a mainline classic 2D Sonic game was just something of the past, with the only games being ports to mobile and PC by a certain someone known as Christian Whitehead. Whitehead's ports were successful. His first port was of Sonic CD back in 2011, which I can confirm is a well-made port. However, to really show how important his ports were, we need to start with Sonic 1. This remaster released in 2013. The game was smooth as butter, added new features, and then ran well, above all, much better compared to Sega's own Sonic 1 remake for the Game Boy Advance. This is vital, as it shows Sega branching out to the fans, asking them to develop projects. Sonic was in quite a decent spot in 2013, slowly recovering from the tragedy of 06 and other mediocre games, having good games such as Colors and Generations, until more mediocrity hit, such as Lost World, which, I will say it was pretty good, and the Boom games. I'm not gonna defend them, but they did have a good TV show, I'll give it that. Sonic has sadly become a laughing stock, yeah, and Sega needed to do something. So in 2015, development began for Sonic Mania, not by Sega themselves, but by passionate fans. Whitehead had shown how well he could remake these classic Sonic games, and along with many other developers who were fans of the series, Mania had become an officially licensed fan game, or better said by Takashi Iizuka, the lead producer of the Sonic series. The game was by the Mania, for the Mania. Sonic Mania is a sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, and it is the true Sonic the Hedgehog 4, not only because it is directly connected to the story, but because of how much of its soul has remained intact for 23 years since Sonic 3. Sure, the Advance series and Rush games were 2D, but like I stated earlier, they weren't classic in tone. We can start from the title screen, a classic homage to Sonic's past, the iconic title screen, now animated even better in pixel art, along with T. Lopes' title theme, and all this in front of the game's island, constantly rotating. All this screams Sonic. His attitude shines through, the classic art style, and Eggman being a menace in the background. Once you start, enter the menus, go to Mania mode, and then the game begins, and boy does this have a great beginning. The Angel Island theme starts playing, and as you see Sonic riding the tornado, which Tails is piloting, and as the plane skids along the water at high speed as you enter the island's forest, Sonic jumps into full speed, dashing until he comes to a stop. Some Eggman robots stand before him and extract a new type of gem, the Phantom Ruby, which then reacts, sending our heroes to Green Hill Zone Act 1. As much as people complain about Green Hill being constantly reused, I find it genius that the game starts with this zone. Not only is it a zone that people can easily recognize, bar none, like it's probably the most recognizable zone of all time, but here the track is remixed a bit, and you know that your journey through Green Hill isn't going to be the same that you're used to. But can we just talk about how true this intro is to classic Sonic's core? The classics trope, which I know a lot of Sonic discussions use, that Sonic 3 is amazing at showing the story, not telling it, which is just as present here as it was then. We see how free-spirited Sonic, as riding on the tornado's wing and jumping off it at full speed. Sonic and Tails' friendship is also as clear as day, as the tornado sways from side to side a bit, and Sonic trusting Tails' abilities as a pilot. These subtle movements show a story that can only be shown through how the characters interact, and it's wonderful. Regarding the Phantom Ruby, the new gem that has been dug up from Angel Island and has a pretty good introduction, as the theme of the Heavies starts playing, who are the antagonists alongside Eggman, you feel a sense that there's a new danger, a threat that could have been unleashed a long time ago but has only come to light now. The fact that the Ruby was just simply underground does seem a bit too convenient, but I digress. The Ruby sends you to Green Hill, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a great introduction to a game, with the subtle animation hints that manage to tell a story, to the music, to just how cool it is to see classic Sonic back in action is truly amazing. And all this, I haven't even mentioned the animated intro cutscene. The cinematic leaves me speechless. Well, figuratively speaking, because I will be speaking about it. The songs they used in the cinematic and the trailers has made me become a big fan of the producers of this track, titled Friends by Hyper Potions. Friends is an electronic track, a happy track that just makes me feel nostalgic by listening to it, and accompanied with the cinematic, this is one of the many reasons I am happy to be a Sonic fan. The track's an instant classic, and this cinematic is also a classic. If you have any doubt about what I think about the cinematic, just look at my YouTube profile picture. It's literally from the cinematic, just as Sonic is about to go super fast. The trailer has nods to the classic games, the elevator showing the floors, 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and Mania, representing the 3 classic games and Knuckles, and now Mania, but omitting Sonic CD, although there are many cool callbacks to Sonic CD in the actual game. The characters, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and the Heavies are given so much life through the animations, showing how they all work together, just having a good time whilst the bad guys are all serious and taking them out. As cliche as it sounds, the power of friendship is central to Sonic games, and it really leaves a mark in its opening. Sonic Mania's introduction as a whole package, the in-game cutscenes, title screen, and opening cinematic is amazing, as it manages to bring back to the old fans with modern nostalgia, and new fans too, by just showing them what Sonic's all about. Back when Sonic was first created as a rival to Mario back in the 90s, he needed something that would set him apart from Mario and all the other platformers, and something that would attract prospective players to play this game. This special thing, or gimmick if we can call it that, is speed. Sonic goes fast and the player feels euphoric. The adrenaline kick that you can get from playing Sonic, going at supersonic speeds and maintaining it, is a true roller coaster that not only requires mastery of the levels, but also a mastery of Sonic's controls. 2D Sonic is relatively tame compared to modern Sonic's many moves, but 2D Sonic is just as flexible in gaining speed as his modern self. In Mania mode, the default gameplay option, Sonic can run fast, jump into a ball, roll into a ball, spin dash, and the best new mechanic, the drop dash. This lets Sonic instantly perform a spin dash upon landing again, and it's a great way to gain speed from a standstill and at maintaining the momentum you've earned. This is the one new mechanic that Mania introduced, and it is already an instant classic. That it even got put into Sonic Forces, and looks like it might be added into the new Sonic Origins collection from trailer footage. Tails as a side character can also be chosen from the title screen, and flying around with your best bud is just as fun as ever. But what about the other classic Sonic moves? The instant shield and the super peel out? Well, fortunately, those two moves also make a return in Sonic Mania by Unlock, which I will elaborate on later. Now that we know how Sonic works and functions, let's just look at the levels that let Sonic go fast, because they do. There are 13 zones in Sonic Mania, with the final zone being the true final battle. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Sonic Mania zones are a mix of old zones that have been remixed and brand new zones, with the split being 8 remixed and 5 new ones. one being the true final stage, which is not really a true zone in a sense, but not only does it satisfy the nostalgia with zones like Chemical Plant and Lava Reef, with new stages such as Mirage, Saloon and Press Garden, everyone gets to experience the game as a brand new experience, although some might feel more nostalgia than others because of having played the past titles. But how about the levels chosen? Are they good? Well, yes. Yes they are, and the continuity of them is top tier. The new stages are sprinkled in between couples of older stages, and it helps keep the player fresh and engaged, even if they are conditioned to the older zones. But just like I said, the older zones are basically new here. Take Chemical Plant for example, which is probably my favorite zone out of all the returning classic stages. The new bouncy water which makes gaining height and momentum so much fun, and it's these small gimmicks like this that make the true classic stages feel anew. Stardust Speedway, for instance, takes a full 180 in its second act and sends you straight to the past, or the future, I'm not really sure right now, but for the whole act contrasting with the first one, which was the main gimmick of Sonic CD, traveling through time. The new stages also take hints from the classic games like Mirage Saloon, that has the first act played entirely on the tornado from Sonic 2. Since I'm talking about the new stages, I can vouch that these stages are truly phenomenal. I've already made a video about Studiopolis Zone, but let's reiterate that it is probably the best classic Sonic stage of all time. Press Garden, a level that uses its ice and force vibe to make a fun stage to traverse through, either by going super fast as an ice cube or taking it by slower platforming. These stages are all so cool, different, atmospherically and gameplay wise from each other, that you really are in for an amazing ride speeding through it. Within all these levels, apart from going fast from point A to point B, there are a vast assortment of stuff for you to do. Firstly, you can walk around and thoroughly explore each area. I won't be going in depth about how the game looks, that will be the next section, but what else can one do in each stage? If you guessed collecting stuff, you are correct. Besides collecting rings to hear that oh so sweet extra life sound, there are two other key items that you can collect that change the gameplay too. First, you can collect the Chaos Emeralds, which you can get the opportunity to collect in giant rings that are hidden around the zones. There are only a few in each act, sometimes one, sometimes three, but when you do find one, you feel satisfied that your exploration has paid off, and considering this is a 2D platformer, there's a lot of exploration that you can do. Again, I'll mention exploration a bit later in this video, but back to the big rings. Heading into one of the rings that you can find sends you to Sonic Mania's special stage, which is a 3D racetrack where you collect rings to gain time, collect boost balls that you can speed up to Mach 3 speed whilst avoiding obstacles, where you chase down a hovering robot carrying the Chaos Emerald. It plays similarly to Sonic CD's special stage, as in it's 3D, and well, I'm not going to talk about the half pipe from Sonic 2, which is also 3D. These stages are great fun and help with the pacing of the game and feels refreshing. After going fast in 2D, finding the rings, and then going fast in 3D is a great reward, where your speed options are expanded on. Not only does it feel good and rewarding to play, but it's also just as rewarding to collect the emeralds. These stages get progressively harder, involving sharp turns, risky jumps to get more coins, and a lot of tough bomb placements. Although once you do get the hang of the controls, playing these stages becomes second nature, but the feeling of satisfaction of collecting the emeralds is just as present as it is the first time you do it, and this emerald hunt is easily the best of the series. The second collectible are silver and gold medals from everyone's favorite Blue Sphere stages. These stages can be accessed by having 25 rings or more and passing a checkpoint, which opens a special portal just above it. Although it is similar to Enter like Sonic 2's special stage, Blue Spheres are far better than the half-pipe shenanigans that I just mentioned from Sonic 2. The Blue Spheres are a collection of old and brand new stages and plays exactly how they used to. Collect all Blue Spheres to win the silver medal, and collect all coins and Blue Spheres to win the gold medal. It is still challenging, but beating one of these stages feels just as rewarding as beating a Dark Souls boss. That's a bit of an exaggeration there, but yeah. Collecting these medals are what unlocks the extra stuff that I hinted at, like the extra moves such as Super Peel Out and the debug mode, and even a Mean Bean multiplayer mode, and I think this is a perfect segue into my next topic, boss fights. Sonic Mania has a wide array of bosses, and going back to Azuka's For the Mania, By the Mania statement, it rings true of how much of the classic bosses were brought back for this game. Mania is a grand spectacle and celebration of Sonic, and these bosses show that. There's a good combination of bosses that make the most out of Sonic's moveset and use the environment differently. In Studiopolis, Act 1, you are using slopes and speed to send missiles straight back to the heavies that's sending them, compared to Oil Ocean, Act 1, sorry for the mispronunciation there, but Oil Ocean Act 1, where you wait for the opportunity to get sent up to attack the boss. The bosses also toy a bit with expectations. For instance, the first major boss, the Defect Robot, is normally a final boss in the other games, but here it's fought in Green Hill, and as you run to the right, whilst having the platform and timer jumps to the left. Having the Defect Robot also being the first major boss instills this thought in the player that whatever Eggman has got up his sleeves, he means business as he's bringing out the big guns in Green Hill. You fight Robotnik a total of 9 times in Mania, and these bosses all greatly vary from each other. My favorite Robotnik boss is Chemical Plant 2 against the Mean Bean Machine, a very cool callback to a previous Sonic title, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. This fight, all you have to do is battle Eggman in a classic battle of Puyo Puyo Tetris. For a boss fight, it's so unique, and I'm excited every time I get to face off against a tense one-on-one puzzle fight. Robotnik's fights, the best ones, are those where the game becomes fast-paced, like against the Arachnid Robot where you must sling yourself into it to deal damage, and the Gacha Machine, with the worst ones being the slow-paced ones, like in Hydrocity Zone, where you have to wait for Eggman to be ready to be dealt damage to. The heavies also get their fair share of fights, or it's either an upgraded enemy, either one of those two, which are fun too. Like I mentioned, there's a missile chase, but there's also a fight against a shinobi that becomes very hectic with star bombs and the ability to freeze you, and the heavy rider, which turns into a circus show. However, the best boss in this game, well, except the Puyo Puyo Tetris battle, I mean this one's just right alongside it, maybe even better, is a fan favorite returning one, Metal Sonic, who not only gets the classic chase sequence from Sonic CD, he also gets a fight where he sends out mechs, but also turns into a giant and chases you down. Mania's boss fights come in so many shapes and forms that you're always in for a treat. To finish off the gameplay section, we need to talk about you. Yes, you, the player, and who you'll be playing as. I've talked about how all the gameplay features here work for Sonic, but I haven't mentioned the other 3 ways to play the base game. Tails and Knuckles are both playable characters, along with Sonic and Tails being a duo, forming the final way to play this game. The characters all control relatively the same, with them all having their own special gimmick. Tails can fly, Knuckles can glide and climb walls, and the duo of Sonic and Tails can have Tails fly Sonic to new heights. Not only does the game change depending on their gameplay, but levels also open up a lot more, with paths that would be harder to reach as one become much easier to reach as the other. Even more so, Knuckles gets brand new levels, not all of them, and even special boss fights, so once you do get around to playing as him, it's different, and the levels perfectly suit Knuckles' playstyle. The Chaos Emerald collection stays the same, with the characters getting their own hyper forms. Overall, having these many playable characters that all vary in their own keeps the experience fresh. The gameplay in Sonic Mania is top notch. All the characters control super well, many new enemies and cool enemies to that, super cool and innovative boss fights with a plethora of remixed old zones and new zones too. Just from a gameplay standpoint, Sonic Mania is a blast, but just you wait because there is a lot more to unravel in this gift that keeps on giving. Sonic games mean a lot to many people, and it's not just because of how fun the gameplay is, but its world. Sonic's worlds are full of life, with environments that have colors that pop and are grand in scale. The colorful contrast of Stardust, Speedway, and in Lava Reef are eye candy, and the way the colors fly past you in Chemical Plant as you travel at Sonic speed is magnificent. Taking a quick glance at the general vibe of this game, it's a celebration really. This is Sonic's 30th anniversary game, and the references and callbacks that they have here come in spades. The remix stages bring brand new life into the classics, and newer stages have direct references to Sonic's past, like Mirage Saloon Zone. Mirage Saloon's 2-act shares 2 key callbacks to previous games, with the plane gimmick in Act 1 and in Act 2. It has a boss fight against 3 classic Sonic characters, Fang, Bean, and Bark. If I were to mention the Easter eggs that are in this game, we would be here all day, but just know that they went hard into filling it out. So far, they even put a donkey Easter egg into the game, and that is legendary. What manages to make this all shine through is the beautiful pixel art. This is the best looking 2D Sonic game. Everything flows so well together, the animations too. All the characters have their idle animations, and it gives them so much character and that their personalities shine through. And with no single piece of dialogue spoken, it's amazing. Sonic is impatient yet determined, and Knuckles on one hand is hot-tempered but good at heart. I mean, the title screen too, like I mentioned earlier, that shows Sonic's attitude, and Dr. Eggman's struggle in the background. Naturally, the number one thing that is related to characters is its story, and Sonic's Mania story is a story. I've not played Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and you bet I will be playing it when Sonic Origins releases, but I know more than enough about what to say that it really is the best 2D Sonic story. The way it manages to tell its story through actions alone without telling it to us is beautiful. I won't tell its entire story for two reasons, one being I haven't played the game, and two being that this is a video on Sonic Mania, which I have played, and Sonic Mania takes a lot of good hints from Sonic 3. The cutscenes here, along with the animations that I mentioned, are well made. We can see how Robotnik, although in control of the heavies, is also in conflict with them. And so when we do get to see the true ending, the power struggle is not just jarring, it makes sense. In the end, the story is not complex in the slightest, so it's easy to catch on to and follow. Good versus evil, the power of friendship, and the sublimity, if that's a word, of nature, are just some of the themes that you'll encounter in your journey. Although some can find this off-putting that the story is this plain, my man, this is a 2D platformer, not Final Fantasy. This section is turning out a lot shorter than I expected, but there's one thing that I know that I can talk about for a long time, and that is Sonic Mania's music. Sonic Mania soundtrack is phenomenal. With a collection of old remake tracks, with new ones too, it's so great to listen to, and what would you expect? Sonic games always have amazing soundtracks, and I'd say average an 8 out of 10 score for the most part, with just one or two games that bring the score right down. And it's no different here. Each zone here has its original song remade or created for the newer stages, used in Act 1. And once you hit Act 2, the music usually uses only bits and pieces from Act 1's track, which removes any sort of repetitive nature that you might feel from listening to the same track over and over again, and more thematically tells you through sound that you're treading into unknown waters, and you aren't through the woods yet. And of course, the man that put all of this together, T. Lopes, is a legendary composer. I love his lo-fi remixes of other game songs, but his tracks here are lovely, and my biggest highlight from the soundtrack has got to be Studiopolis Zone Act 1 and his Versus Metal Sonic rearrangement. Sonic Mania's atmosphere and general vibe is consistent, bright and full of life, and easy to grasp story, and with banging music, this just makes an amazing world to continuously explore and jump back into whenever the mood hits you. And whenever the mood to play Sonic Mania hits you, it's not just because of the world and main game, but also its other aspects. Replayability is something that games want to nail. Take Resident Evil and Metroid, games that have a lot of content just by simply speedrunning and getting better at the game. Makes it more fun as you get better, and that's also true in the nature of Sonic. Sonic games thrive of replaying the levels, mastering them, and getting the fastest time possible, and the time trial mode here is really good at making that. Yes, it's just a simple time trial mode, but it really feels good. A start line that lets you build up speed so that you can get a flying start, and a goal post that shouts "Go!" when you complete the stage is very satisfying, especially after breaking your own personal best. You can also race against your previous times in the form of a transparent version of your character, which really gets that competition adrenaline running. And each character is in their own category, with some categories stages faster than others, because some characters are better suited for other stages. So you got a lot of mastery to achieve. But back to the main game, replaying the games as different characters makes it feel good to keep coming back, and messing around with the settings in debug mode, in no save mode, can also lead to hours of fun. But one thing that I really appreciate is the level select. After having completed the game once, you can go back into that save file and select any level that you want to play. If you manage to once you manage to complete your first playthrough and miss some Chaos Emeralds, it's easy to jump straight back in, collect the giant rings you need, leave, and play the final zone to unlock the secret zone, so that you can get a completed save. It's quite completionist friendly in that sense, and encourages even those who don't tend to complete games to complete them. Speaking of collecting, like I said in the gameplay section, there are a lot of stuff for you to collect, but the most important one of them all are the blue spheres. By beating each stage and collecting either the gold or silver medal, whether you collect all rings or not, you don't just unlock the other classic moves that Sonic has, but you also unlock a whole bunch of extras. You can unlock the ability to play blue sphere stages at will for the fans out there, and one of the best side games, Mean Bean Machine again, the boss fight that you fight against at the end of Chemical Plant. It really is a fun Sonic game with ranging difficulties and a co-op mode. Oh, speaking of co-op, there is a split screen mode in this game, which is basically a racing game to see who can get to the end before the other person. This multiplayer race is fun for a bit, but does get a bit stale, I think. And I do think the screen size does get stretched out a bit too much and makes it look a bit bland. But that was a bit of a multiplayer tangent. But back to collecting blue spheres. A fan favorite option you can unlock is debug mode, like I mentioned a few lines ago. Personally, I'm not much of a debug mode user, but it works how it used to, but don't take my word for it. Sonic Mania is a content-rich game, filled to the brim with the option to complete save files, collect more medals to unlock more options and modes, that the incentive to keep coming back for one more round is always there. Oh, and there's Knuckles. If Sonic Mania ended with its replay value, I would be more than overjoyed with the product as it stands. Fortunately for us, Sonic Mania does not end there, as we have DLC. For an extra $5 you receive the Encore DLC pack, which combined with the base game turns the game into Sonic Mania Plus, the definitive version to play Sonic Mania, even if the base game was already really definitive. Along with the DLC came a free update which added in cutscenes between the stages, which shows us how our heroes traverse from stage to stage by either taking hand gliders or getting shot out of a gun. And like I said in the vibe section, it gives the game even more character than it already does. However, sadly for us, from my knowledge, the Donkey Easter egg did get patched out. But now, onto what the DLC did add, which was some really great stuff. The Encore DLC's biggest addition, which is what the whole DLC revolves around, are two brand new characters, Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel. For die-hard Sonic fans, you will remember these characters from Sega Sonic the Hedgehog arcade game way back in 1993. These characters got some appearances in some later games, but it's been well over a decade since a proper appearance, up until Mania Plus. Mighty and Ray have two very distinct movesets that make them fit seamlessly into the world of Mania, but also making them unique enough. Mighty has a ground pound that sends him flying straight down into the ground, crush enemies and break through certain blocks. Mighty also has an extra hit in a sense, and if he gets hit while in the ball form, he will jump out of it, which then leaves him vulnerable for damage. Ray, on the other hand, is not ground focused like Mighty, but rather takes to the skies where he can glide. Gliding in the air requires you to steer him up and down to gain momentum and brake, which can take you across the whole stage in a matter of seconds, but it's so much fun to glide around this way. The stages burst even wider open than they were before with these new movement options, making some characters better for other playstyles and ways you intend to play. Along with the new characters, we have a brand new game mode that accompanies them, Encore Mode, named after the titular DLC. Encore Mode plays very similar to Mania Mode, as in that it is a story mode that trudges along the same lines as the main story, but with some slight variations. Instead of starting on the tornado and getting transported to Green Hill, you start on Angel Island and get to play a small version of the iconic zone, which is a true nostalgia blast. At the end of this small section, you get to choose a partner between the two new characters. Upon choosing one of them, the other turns out to be one of the heavies, and then you get sent to Green Hill. It's a very cool opening, bring back a small piece of a classic stage, although I wish it were longer or even at a full zone, and you get to choose a long gone classic character. That's what's really cool. The gimmick of Encore Mode is that you can instantly switch between your partner during gameplay, so if I had Sonic and Mighty on my team, with the press of a button I could instantly change to the other one, which, if I was Sonic, I would suddenly be Mighty. This all means that lives are non-existent, meaning that you can get a total of 5 lives being the 5 playable characters available. So when you do it, the first backup character gets sent to the team and the game goes on as normal without a single loading screen. There's also a new TV screen item which randomizes all the characters that you have, which can drastically switch up the way that you play and the gameplay plan that you have. Along with this gameplay style and vibe that it's going for, there is also a palette swap in each zone, giving it a completely new aura and actually feels a lot more sinister in a way. Like, it just feels a lot more ominous. The last change in Encore Mode is that instead of Blue Sphere Mode, when you collect 25 rings and enter a portal, you are sent to a pinball machine. This mode also becomes unlockable when you collect more medals, and this mode is really fun and a good change of pace. Instead of Blue Spheres where you are constantly trying to complete the level, pinball is just a game that you can switch off for a while and just relax, which I know does seem a bit contrasting to the ominous vibe level that it gives off, but whatever, it's fun. But yeah, the Encore Mode is really great at adding new modes, characters, and some quality of life changes. and Sonic Mania really becomes much better than it was, and really does become the definitive version of it. How should I conclude this retrospective of sorts? Sonic Mania is a bright light in a sea of Sonic mediocrity, and as much as I dislike to say that 3D Sonic has struggled with good games, it's true, and it just shows how important Sonic Mania is for the franchise. Sonic Mania managed to restore in the franchise, reminding many of us that the classic games are some of the best games ever made, and goes even further beyond what those games managed to do. With fluid gameplay and multiple playable characters that are all unique, new stages and remixed stages that bring in nostalgia and a new era of classic Sonic, and a world that is so much fun to listen and explore in, Sonic Mania is an amazing game on surface level too, but the extra depth and replay value with many new modes, gameplay, options and so much more, it's safe to say that Sonic Mania is not just one of the greatest Sonic games of all time, but also one of the greatest games of all time. I love 3D Sonic games, even though they do have their flaws and some are just not good, but this just shows us the importance of Sonic Mania has, and that we always have a good game that we can go back and play. And with that, welcome to the end of the video. I hope that you have enjoyed this very long video, and I hope that it was coherent and easy to follow along, since I have never made a video this long before. But what are your thoughts on Sonic Mania? Leave them down below, and any support or critiques are appreciated. As of writing this, it's June 5th, which means that the Resident Evil 4 remake just got announced at Sony's State of Play, which I can't wait to play, but I need to get my hands on a new generation console first. But also, still on Sonic Frontiers gameplay has been revealed, and it's safe to say that we are very concerned for it. The music is good, but the rest falls quite a ways short, especially the world design and animations in my opinion. But anyways, that's a bit too much rambling for me. I'll be off, and I hope to see you in the next video, and with that, Storm out.